What's up? Welcome to episode 17 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. I'm Mike.
And I'm your co-host Joel.
How we doing, man?
Doing well, living the dream. Missing
Yeah.
Commander. It's been like a week since I've played, so I'm going through withdrawals. So we got to get
Yeah.
get something on the book soon.
Yeah. A weekend without any commander is a
It's
poor
rough.
weekend.
It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. I did get to play over the weekend. I'll tell you a little story about that. First, let me just say I did go get another Equilibrium. I got a Middletown Waves. It's a triple, it's 10%. And then I got myself another triple from Icarus Power
Ooh,
Juicer.
ooh, baby, a triple.
Yeah, so it'll be potent tonight. I'm ready. Um, but yeah, so I played Commander with Keldon, Carolyn, and Nick. We played 5 games. I ended up not winning any again. This is now the third night of Commander where I haven't won a single game.
You're gonna have to play Cutthroat or something in the next time.
I think I am just to,
Get a
and
W.
yeah, just to make sure that it's my casual play style that's letting me lose these games rather than my lack of quality plays. I don't know what's exactly bringing it on, but 15 is kind of an undeniable statistic.
Yeah, it's getting a
Um,
little rough.
yeah, I think what my problem is I cast everything. I like to flash and bling and what do they say? Riz.
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
to
Riz
Riz.
is when you're flirting with somebody.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, well,
We're old.
yeah, I'm out there. Yeah, I know. I'm out here risen with my decks. I don't know. But I realized that I don't sandbag anything except board wipes, and I just throw out all of my value, and I make myself a target when I'm not actually a target, when I could be holding some of these things back to play a little more correct. So at the end of the day, I'm out there just throwing all my candy on the floor instead of waiting for it.
Saving it.
But
Maybe waiting for tomorrow.
yeah, we'll see. It was good games. We ended up playing beginner games, the starter decks, and I did end up with the zombie one,
Nice.
Kisa and whatever.
Geralf or whatever.
Yes, I had. It was good, dude. Honestly, I was very impressed with all the starter decks for being $20 a deck. All of them had good cards, played very powerfully, had a balance of everything. I was very impressed, and I almost took that game, except the Spiteful Visions was out. That's the one that deals a damage every time you draw a card,
Yeah.
and got me,
Damn,
got
to
me.
Spiteful Visions.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't get past it, and I was drawing a lot, so just killed me. Uh, I just want to highlight one play that I had that night. Just let you know something really cool that happened with Krark. So I was playing Krark. Turn 1, dropped a land. Okay. Turn 2, dropped a land, put out Krark right away. Turn 3, I cast Searing Visions, Searing, a Seething Song, which is a 3 mana instant or sorcery. I can't read it. It's a small picture, but ultimately it gives me 5 mana
Yep. I
if I
think it's a
cast it. So
sorcery.
okay, so 3 mana to get 5 mana, and I cast it with Krark. I ended up landing the heads, so I got 10 mana. With 5 of the mana, I cast Reign of Riches, which is an enchantment that says create 2 treasure tokens whenever you cast a spell. Yeah, I'm zooming in. Yeah, we are old, man. I need to read this real close. The first spell you cast each turn, that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. So it gave me 2 treasures. That was 5 mana. So I still have 7 mana. With 5 of the mana, I cast Double Vision using 1 treasure, which gave it Cascade.
Yeah.
With the Cascade
Oh
of
shit.
casting Double Vision, I got Chandra Novice Pyromancer.
Okay.
And when that resolved, I negative one her to get 2 more mana, and I cast a Krark's Thumb. So it ended up being 5, 10, 9, 14, 15, 16, like almost 20 mana worth of shit just dropped out right there on turn 3.
That's
I still
awesome.
lost the, yeah, it was impressive. I lost the game, but that alone made me
Did you
very
lose
happy that it did it.
did you lose because you drew everyone's ire from going off so hard at the beginning?
No, I lost I there was two positions where I could have won, and my flip hit tails.
Oh,
So
damn, it came down to a flip.
yeah, I had a gyro immolating, flare
Yeah.
inferno, and I had enough to deal 40. If it resolved, it did 45 damage to each person, and it didn't. But I still had out the double vision, so it still did 16 to everybody,
Yeah.
which killed one person. But once I did that, it telegraphed that I had it still in hand, and everybody made it their mission to kill me.
It makes
So
sense.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I could have won that one. It was down to the coin
That
flip.
close, yeah.
Yeah. So and I had Clark's thumb out too, so it was I failed two flips to get that off. I was pretty sure I was going to win it, and
Yeah.
it got
Fate was
me.
like, not today.
Yeah, yeah. You gamble, man. You got to
Yeah.
gamble. That's what it's about. Anyway, that was a cool play. I took a picture of the board. I thought that was awesome, and still lost. Anywho, uh, have you played any arena this week?
Nope, not a single bit.
Okay.
It's all that WoW Classic, my guy.
Yeah.
Everyone get on Season of Discovery. It's a great time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Is it a free to play game?
No. No, it's not.
Okay.
But with Season of Discovery, you only need to pay the subscription. You don't need to buy the expansion.
Okay. And what's a subscription?
I think it's 15 a month.
That ain't bad.
No, just like another service.
It's like a lunch sandwich right there.
Yeah,
You know?
honestly, give up one deli sub a month and
Yeah,
play WoW.
that's fair. All right. Well, I did play. Um, I played 6 games of draft. I figured I would do a little bit of draft, and the results came out pretty well. So I ended up going Boros, Rakdos, Boros, Demir, Rakdos, Boros, and then Azorius.
Damn.
I think red is phenomenal in it. It's definitely an aggressive draft environment. You want to be swinging as fast as you can. Uh, I mean, Rakdos and Boros had me at 6 wins. Demir had me at 6 wins. I gotta say, Atrada was a good card. Atrada
Yeah,
really,
people are high on
oof,
Natrata.
yeah. I don't know if it would be good in constructed, but I mean, when you land that and you start hitting them and you're now cloaking their deck against them, great time.
Yeah.
Great. So that was good. But the most important thing I got out of all of this drafting is it was a good environment. I had fun. There is a blue card. It's 4 mana that it's like cold as ice or something like that. It's a 4 mana that taps down 2 creatures you control and then puts a stun counter on them. And it's at instant speed. And I lost most of my games I was gonna win that lost was because of that card.
Yeah, the stun.
Yeah, it's just instant speed. You're about to swing fatal, and they tap down your 2 biggest things. And then next turn, you don't get to attack either. And by this time, they're already hitting you, building a board, doing what they got to do. And that was a rough card. So that's why my last one I did Azorius was I wanted to try it out, and it didn't do me so well. I won only 2 games on that, but
Yeah.
I can't play blue. I honestly, it's not something I could do.
Did you find that the draft experience was kind of tugging you to 3 colors, or did you feel that it was totally just fine to do the two?
Uh, just the two. I never even had to consider splashing. I always had more than enough to draft. In sealed, we were saying I felt it a little, but in draft, that absolutely just
Absolutely
two
not.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no issues with it whatsoever. And with the hybrid, I mean, there was those few cards where I'll run it. I only need 2 colors, and I'll just cast the
Yeah.
hybrid stuff. So it was nice. I plan on playing some more. I didn't get sick of it. It is cool with the disguise murders. Good
I
stuff.
have actually I have 2 constructed points as well, since we're kind of in like the
Yeah,
standard
definitely.
construction area. If you were all complete, do you have any more draft experience, Tails?
No, that's it. I tried not to, get too much data. I just wanted to get a feel. How did I feel?
Yeah.
And it was fun.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different things. One point I wanted to bring up is at our local game store's RCQ, which was standard from this past weekend. I wanted to point out that the first and second place both Esper midrange.
Really?
Yeah. So I do wonder if it's just the significant difference in meta from best of one to best of three.
Yeah. Because you can't really contribute it all to just, you know, the rank, the ladder.
Yeah.
Because even if it is something that sits at the top of the ladder, there are people that are getting up that ladder
Yeah.
that'll be
Well,
playing it.
plus no, you're high enough up on the ladder where you definitely start running into like meta by at least gold, and you're
Yeah.
above that. So
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be that effect. And I think maybe if there was only best of three on arena, I think I would be building my decks differently as well. So it's almost like two different formats.
yeah, which
Hmm.
is cool. But I would just thought
Yeah.
I just that was just a note that I saw because I remember we were talking about it, and I keep asking you like, are you seeing this? Because on Goldfish it seems so popular, and I guess yeah, in the best of three paper type of thing, it's very strong.
Yeah. I only played about 6 or 7 standard games because I was testing out goblins, which is going
Yeah.
well. But still no Esper. So
Hmm. Interesting. And the other
mm,
point I wanted to make, oh, sorry, go on.
I was just saying maybe I'll play best of 3 and see if I see it just for
Yeah,
science.
that'd be
But
interesting.
what's up?
The other point I wanted to make is TCG Player put out like one of their articles, and it was talking about Pioneer, and I was interested to see what Murders cards made like kind of made it into the format at all, because everyone's kind of been ragging on Murders a lot, and there's a decent number of cards, but the by and far the most played card that made its way into Pioneer is No More Lies.
No more lies. All right, let me look that
Yeah,
up.
I believe it's a white and a blue counter target spell unless they pay 3, and then it gets exiled if it's countered this way. I want to say is the total. Is that?
Yes. Yeah. If that spell is exiled this way, is countered this way, exile instead of putting it in the graveyard. Yep.
Yeah, so
So
that apparently is making it not a splash, but it's at least making it into decks um, to replace Make Disappear.
I don't like Azorius.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. And it's such a
Uh,
bummer that that's always what gets like the crown and the spotlight.
yeah, but it is what it is.
I mean, it's an uncommon and it's $1.26 on TCG Player right now. Oh, and I got it. Fiery Gambit finally got delivered after over a month.
I don't believe it. You should leave a negative review. Not a negative review.
Well,
Give him a 3 star.
I contacted them about a week ago and I was like, "Hey, I haven't gotten it and it's past the expected date and this and that." And they apologized and they refunded me my money. The stamp on the mailing is January 21st or something. So it did get
It
lost
did
in the
get
mail. That
yeah,
was
and just got
yeah.
cycled through.
Yeah. I asked them, I was like, was it shipped? And without even like arguing or asking or saying like, well, wait a little longer, they just refunded me. I mean, it was only $1.50 or something, I
Yeah,
think, but
at that point, I don't think it's worth it for them. I mean, if you feel bad,
yeah.
you could always reach out and ask them to recharge you. Or
I plan on it. I did order another one, but I do plan on reaching out to them and at least letting them know I got it. And if they want to charge me for it, I'll pay it for sure. But I do want to let
yeah,
them know at least it did
it
arrive.
did
It was
arrive.
in
Yeah.
mail.
Yeah, I haven't had terrible luck with TCG Player over the years. I do miss cards now and then, but it is what it is. Oh, last two
Yeah.
cards I wanted to mention, not as many copies that made it into Pioneer, but still made a little bit of copies into Pioneer. Meticulous Archive, which is the Surveilland blue white, hilarious that also made it, and Archdruid's Charm were the top 3.
Okay. Archdruid's Charm. Is that another blue sword? Oh, okay.
No,
Oh,
that's the triple green
okay.
modal.
For that, the green devotion deck.
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense.
those are the
Great
ones.
card. This this is a powerful
Yeah,
card. So good.
options.
Yeah. Anything modal is good in my book.
All right.
And how much is this? It's 735 foil. I mean, normal prices, it looks like it's $5 or $6. It just shot up. It just shot up. So yeah, that makes sense. Oh no, it's been pretty expensive. I have one. I has one. Anyway, all right.
All right, MTG Finance. I just wanted to point out some things that I had seen over like lately, just a couple different like bullet points for things I've noticed. So Murders is absolutely sucking a fatty in terms of sales. Um, multiple different sites have started to list boxes of play boosters at $100, and the only that's 100% a sale at a loss for most stores, if not all of
Just to
them.
get rid of it.
Yeah, just to get rid of it to get recoup some of the money. It's
Yeah.
absolutely it's not doing well at all.
Hmm.
Um, some people feel like, and I kind of agree with this point, that Murders wasn't the strongest set, so it was not an opportune time to be paired with an increase in price because now there's no more draft booster boxes. Like it's only play booster boxes, which were roughly the same cost as set booster boxes. So the increase in price combined with people not really loving the flavor of the set is really dragging it down.
That's an interesting point. I would think, all right, they didn't like the set because of Clue or the cards or something. I wouldn't so much think so deep as because the draft boosters are gone and now all you have are these expensive boxes. Um, it makes sense. Do you think it was a mistake getting rid of draft box packs now?
No, I understand. When I read the article when they said they were getting rid of it, I 100% agreed with it because I'm the perfect example. I feel like I'm a good example of exactly why they made that decision. I am willing to buy boxes occasionally, knowing that it's not a good return on value. I understand that. I just enjoy opening packs. However, when presented with Draft Booster, where you get one rare per pack, unless you're fortunate enough to get one in the foil slot, versus set boosters, where it was like, more likely to get two, maybe three rares, and then a chance at a list card, which also 99% of the time your list card's garbage, but it could be good. It could be a boat.
Yeah,
Um, so I only ever bought set booster boxes. I always
same.
waffle between collector and set, but set at least was like a obtainable, affordable, box. You're opening a bunch of packs and lots of chances for like, rares and things.
Yeah.
So
No,
I would
I
never buy a draft.
I agree. I agree. Even if it technically hurts their sales and everything. Well, you know what? I still think it's more about the set than it is the packs
That
and the
yeah, no,
prices.
100%. People do not like this set at all. They think a lot of people think it's too on the nose, think it's too silly.
Hmm.
Um,
I That's how I felt about Throne of Eldraine. But I don't feel it so much for this. I'm honestly very comfortable with the set. I am enjoying it. I still have high hopes for this set. I know I was the first person that said, "Oh, the set's gonna suck," uh, and then I reversed it. I just,
it's the
I
popular
like it.
decision, so you can't have that. You can't have that opinion.
Yeah, dude. I can't help myself. Hipster
uh,
till I die.
and one other thing I want to say too is it's very interesting. I wonder if Crime Planet setting is just not for the Magic player base because this seems very similar to what happened with New Capenna.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because really, people prefer a fantasy setting for their fantasy game, unless it's an IP or something like that. So then let's make a little prediction here. How do you think it's going to turn out with the Wild West at Thunder Junction?
I That's a good question. My gut says that it's going to be good because it's like kind of different from like we haven't ever seen anything like this before. It's a new plane. It's hard to say though because a lot of it is how strong the cards are. You know what I mean? Like if there's nothing from Murders that anybody is like cracking packs to try to pull. You know what I mean? Like none of there's no mythic even that's like terribly expensive. So
Well, let's get Massacre Girl under $10 because I won't buy it until she's under 10. So
is she
let's
over
keep on
10?
taking the set. She's 14, 15.
I
Yeah.
don't believe that.
I man, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think that's the thing.
Oh
She's
my
even,
God, yeah, she's literally 14. Yeah, market
I say
price
it's
14.50.
Commander players.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, also not to mention not many people are opening the set, so any mythic that is worth something, if people aren't like cracking packs to try to get it, like realistically, like what's in there, you know? What are you trying
Yeah.
to what's pulling the value there?
Yeah.
So yeah, that
I,
was my little murders thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see play boosters go sub 100 You know what I mean? Like maybe an 89.99 flash sale.
Does a sale like this get you interested in buying more? Or is this a
No.
set you're not touching?
It's not that I'm not touching it. It's just that what I really wanted out of this set was Delny, and I got two of them, which is what I needed, and I needed a Blood Ripper, which I also happened to get out of my box as well. So there's nothing really left for me, and I will say that the lack of a bonus sheet makes me less likely to get that even more. Because at least when I buy packs with bonus sheets, it's like, oh, I'm rolling the dice to see if I get like a Ragavan out of March of the Machine or um,
Yeah.
one of the many cool artifacts that was in Brothers War. Like that's at least, rolling the dice on those is fine for me. Or even getting a doubling season out of a Wilds of Eldraine pack. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so there's value in those packs to me beyond like the set itself, which like encourages me to get more. But with this, since I got the ones I needed, like there's no reason for it.
Yeah. Okay. So all right, so two quick things about this. One is um do you did they not put that bonus sheet in because of the new set, the new packs? Is it just not going to happen anymore because of the new packs, or was it just kind of an isolated incident with this set?
I don't think I think they go back and forth if there's bonus sheets for each set. Because what was
Okay.
right before Wilds? I don't think that had a bonus sheet. Oh,
What's that? Dominaria?
Lost Caverns doesn't have a bonus sheet.
No. Okay.
Lost
All right.
Caverns
So
has a couple of commander collector booster exclusives, but not an entire like in packs you can get like one of these things, as far as I
okay.
know.
All right. That's fair.
And that everyone loved that set because the
Yeah.
flavor was there.
Yeah. I think they have to stay primarily fantasy to get wide reception. I mean,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, the most fantasy thing in the world, killed it. Killed it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Magic is a fantasy environment.
The next one I wanted to bring up is Secret Lairs.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody out there buys Secret Lairs, but they've recently switched from doing you have as much stock as you want while it's available to switching to a limited stock model. And one thing I wanted to point out specifically was that the uh, the last Secret Lair Commander deck to come out before the most recent one was the Angels one. That was great. Um, was the Angels one, and it is selling like hotcakes. The double 2.5 the price on like eBay and secondary places. A lot of the cards in there are, especially the alternate art ones, are worth a bunch. So that was definitely worth picking up. You could have made your money back if you bought one and bought two and sold one to recoup the cost of the purchase.
Hmm.
That was that. But then the dog and cat one was the most recent one after that. And the dog and cat one they switched from being available over a certain amount of time to this limited stock thing.
Yeah.
It ended up selling out in like 6 or 7 hours and instantly again was listed online for like double, triple the price. And the subreddits were flooded with people complaining how they didn't get one, blah 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 blah. So Wizards is definitely trying to pump the secret lair market by introducing like FOMO tactics of like get it now while supplies last essentially as opposed to maybe you'll buy it in the next month type of things. Um, so I would say though that if they ever do another Commander Secret Lair, it's probably worth just grabbing it because they all seem to be increasing in price. So I think it's worth grabbing.
Man, I don't like that so much. I don't like it. I You know what though? It's also none of my business. Because all those cards that they're releasing in these secret layers, if you want to get it or you're interested in the finance of it, it's there for you to get that hype, get
Yeah,
on the list, try to get it. It's like a little mini game to the game. But for people like me, I'll just go buy the regular version. It really the secret layers don't touch me. You really need to hit me with something special, like what no, I honestly
like this Sheldon spellbook, which was my last point. Great transition, Michael. That
yeah. Yeah, very
uh
special. That one's a
yeah,
good one.
Sheldon Menery, the godfather of Commander passed away. He was working with Wizards on a secret lair. The secret lair is phenomenal. It has Teferi's protection in there. It has greater good in there. Um, There was one other high value reprint that's in there as well. But definitely double the price of what you're gonna get if you buy it. It's only $40 for non-foil. It's like $80 worth of value. Half the money goes to charity, goes to the American Cancer Society. So I suggested to the play group that everyone grab one. Um, and I just want to point out, like, shit like this is how I get cart like expensive staples cheap. Because I'm gonna
Yeah,
grab this. I'm gonna have its Ferris protection. I'm probably gonna sell some of the other pieces I don't need. And then what? I got like a $15 Teferi's protection. Like that's great.
yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. I'm a little tight right now. I wasn't gonna buy it, and then when I was playing with Keldon, he asked me if I was gonna buy it, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy it.
Oh, Ink
And
Shield was the other one. Ink Shield is the other
Ink Shield.
expensive. Yeah.
Classic. And that honestly, that's the best artwork. I think the Ink
Yeah.
Shield artwork, he looks phenomenal on that one.
Yeah.
And a good card. But so Keldon ultimately, said he's like, listen, I'll buy you one of them when I'm ordering it, as long as you, uh, you know, alter some cards for him. So I'm gonna alter. There's a Scooby Doo commander, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
alter it as Shaggy, and then the dog token I'm gonna alter as Scooby. And
That's a fair
there's
trade.
yeah, and there's one other card he wants. Spore Frog. There's a foil Spore Frog now, so he was asking if I could still paint Kermit on it, but on the foil one. So I'm gonna redo that one also.
Hey, well, it's a worthy trade. You get great cards, he
Yeah.
gets great art, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, and then I mean, at the end of the day, I get to take pictures of it and show off the idea of Shaggy and Scooby. I'm sure on the subreddit someone's already done it. I'm gonna try not to look. I'm gonna try to do
Do
my
it
own version.
better.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna just do my own. 'Cause I don't want to see it because then I'm gonna end up subliminally kind of doing it like that. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no,
do
I
my
feel
own
you.
first, and then I'll post it. And once mine's posted, I'll go and see how much better theirs is. But we'll do it. So yeah, I will end up getting that. I believe as long as he was able to obtain that many. And if not, I'll still alter them. I'm excited to do those alters, honestly.
Yeah.
So uh yeah, the finance of magic, man. That's all you. I am a dirty budget casual. Um, which actually kind of brings us into our next thing.
Boomer.
Building for Commander in 2024. This was something that I noticed when I was building Krark, that I had not noticed in the past few years that we've been building is on EDH Rec. I realized that is not as great of a resource it is for building. It is not really viable anymore in 2024. And
That's a hot take.
it is. And my opinion is a lot of the commanders tend to be, you know, precons. So these new commanders that are coming out, the EDH rec is skewed heavily with whatever was already in the precon.
Yes.
There's clearly cards that were meant to be teamed up with even the old commanders. I mean, they've made cards to team up. It's almost like the EDH rec shows you a list of the top 10 most no-brainer cards for it instead of the most interesting cards or the best synergies and everything.
Yes.
And when you're building, with how many cards we have now, you really do want to put your own spin on it. It's got to be your fingerprint in your decks. And when we first started using EDH Rec, it was this really cool thing of letting you know these cards that you didn't know that can go with that commander. And now it's like it's just letting you know what you already know should go with the commander.
Yeah, the aggregate, choices.
Right. Right. It's almost like, you know, mainstream music. It's like what's playing on the radio, and like if you really want good music, you're not going to go listen to the radio. You're going to go onto a Spotify, curated playlist and find some of those things that really are doing interesting stuff. So
Yeah,
that got me into thinking, well, it was like, we have to build decks differently now in 2024 than we did in 2016 when we were playing then. So I was interested. How do you build your decks now? I mean, clearly we've all evolved on our builds, but
for
what
sure.
is your method?
Well, I have like a template that I sort of use, and then I adjust based on, the curve of the deck or, what exactly what the deck is trying to accomplish. But so I definitely, and it goes back to maybe even 2016. I start off with a basis of um, the command zone's old deck building list.
Hmm.
I know that there's another type of way to do it where it's like 888 or 777, where like you split each use into like a certain number of cards and you fill that slot. But yeah, I usually start with 10 ramp, 10 card draw, 5 removal, 5 board wipe. That's what it used to be. I've adjusted those numbers. And then 37 lands, and then the rest is the game plan, essentially. Is how I kind of start.
Okay. So all right, you have a formula, and I know a lot of people do. I do not have a formula. There is never a before I get into this, this is what I intend to do. I am definitely a let me find 100 cards I really think I want in this. And then once I do, I lay it out after the fact and see, is there enough ramp? Is there enough card draw? Is there enough removal? Um, which is definitely not as efficient as your method. Um, but I do like to, before I start getting into the stats, just kind of collect 100 cards that I really like, and then from that point start whittling through. So we're both very different on that then.
Yeah, my
uh,
whittling comes through in the sense of like I know I want to like I only have 3 more slots left in this category. Like, but I want to put 8 cards in, and then having to whittle them down that way as opposed to like having them all and putting. I guess it's basically the same thing, but that's how my brain works.
right now, okay, so now how do you find the cards? What are your resources that you use to actually find the cards you want in this deck?
Yeah, so it's funny that you actually brought up like EDH Rec and some of like the pitfalls that come with looking at it. I still definitely use EDH Rec for suggestions. I do find though that I'm less likely to look at the commanders page and more likely to look around like the themes section
Yep.
to give me more ideas. But I've been using Scryfall much, much more. When I'm
Yeah.
building a deck that has like a certain either strategy or creature type or what have you, or but my most recent was Tomic with the Planeswalkers. I just use Scryfall to list every single one of them, and then I make a big, big, big list of like anything that seems remotely interesting, and then I take that list and then I paste it over my filter of my kind of formula there, slot things in, and then I'll go back to EDH Rec, which is when I start looking at like let's see what Planeswalker decks run. Not even specifically colors, just what cards in general they run, or what do Orzhov commanders like to run. Not any specific one, but what are just Orzhov like kind of cards that I might have forgotten about.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I do it. The last thing I look at is the commanders page, and I do that specifically because I really like their new cards feature, where it shows you like I forget what the filter is, but that's what I
Ooh.
mostly use the commander page for, is what cards came out recently that I might have forgotten about to slot in.
Hmm. I see. I didn't even know that there is a newest cards option. Maybe that's my problem. Is EDH Rec is keeping up with all of this, and I'm just not using all the tools they are offering. But so now you're saying you hit Scryfall first. You do your rough draft with Scryfall,
Yeah,
then you go to EDH Rec and kind of find the missing pieces that didn't hit your draft.
exactly.
Okay. So typically I do the opposite where I go to EDH Rec first. I go right to the commanders page and I find like those 10 cards that need to be with the commander
Yeah,
because I'm normally doing some, weirder or more off brand stuff. And I just need to make sure what is going to synergize with this the most. I grabbed 5 or 10 cards. And then once I got the foundation, then I go to Scryfall. I do all my, keywords, what I'm looking for. And that's when I start exploring for all the uniqueness and the identity to it. I guess it kind of leads the same way whether you do one or the other first. It does it, but it's just again, it just goes to show how so far the two things we've talked about, we do it the opposite way.
yeah.
you
I mean,
know
that's just us and magic, though. That's how we play.
that yeah, truly, it's funny to see that. Are there any other websites that do you log all your decks onto a database or some sort of website?
No, I mean I have Word documents essentially that have all of them listed out, but I don't upload them into anything. It was only recently that I started using Moxfield to enter
Okay.
things. So that was mostly to like check on budget.
And do you like Moxfield?
I enjoy it. Yeah, it just I don't. Once I've built the deck and I put it together, and it enters maintenance mode of just like, oh, what new cards do I want to add or what have you. Like I don't really ever find myself wanting to see like what the deck, what the deck is like. I mean, it probably should use it for like things like curve and whatnot, but I feel like my decks are fairly efficient as I
Yeah, I
build
would say so.
them, kind of just
Yeah.
from like experience and eyeballing it to where I don't really feel like I need to see like that much depth.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to use Tapped Out,
hmm
and it was okay. I always I don't really have a good computer. I'm I'm streaming this. We're doing all of our podcasting off of like a 9-year-old
It's a
$400
windmill and a
laptop.
and a toothpick and gum.
It's a little rough, man. It gets very very hot and toasty. I'm sure there's some radiation coming out of this, but it gets the job done. But ultimately, a lot of my stuff happens on my phone, and Tapped Out really didn't seem intuitive. It was kind of clunky. You're searching and everything. And Keldon had mentioned Architect to me,
hmm
and I know I had mentioned it to you, and you had said that it was having some sort of glitching or shutdowns or
For
something,
for
right?
me on my phone, or
Yeah.
I forgot what I was looking at, but yeah, it was not working for me the day I tried to.
Yeah. I that so I've only built one deck on it, and I've got to say it was one of the best experiences building on a platform like this. I used to There was this super lame app, and not lame. It was a primitive app that I would try to build on, but it had the whole library and it was an app and it was fun. But Architect, it looks great. It's easy and fast to add card. I mean,
hmm
you start typing a card and immediately it's just like you can
Yeah,
add it. And then the best part about it is there's this option where you can click and it'll show you, instead of listing it by instant sorceries, artifacts, all this stuff, it'll list it by ramp, card draw, removal, this and that. And it already knows what these cards do. And it gives you this second perspective at what your deck is, which helps someone like me who's so whimsical about building a deck to kind of say, oh, okay, there is a lot of card draw in here. I don't need to really start analyzing and making a list. I see that there's a stack there. So that's good. And then I can move on. So I do want to say Architect is great. And you're using Moxfield. Is that what it's
yeah,
called? What is it? Moxfield. Okay.
yeah.
Maybe I'll try that for the next deck just to compare and then finally say, like, hey, Architect is the best, or
Well, it
oh no,
definitely
actually
doesn't
Moxfield is
offer
comparable.
that like batching that
Yeah.
Architect does. I think that's very nifty.
Hmm. Yeah, I was very impressed with it. And again, it's like it shows all the cards in a really nice kind of how like MTG Goldfish, when you go to their deck lists, like you can easily access it.
Yeah.
This is even more so where they're all stacked up there and you very very easy to just read, see and understand what all these cards are doing. So Architect is a cool new resource in 2024 that really adds to building a commander deck. So shout it out, try it out, and if it doesn't work on whatever platform you're using, maybe try another. And then if it does, obviously fuck it, use something else. But I have had no issues with it and I love it. All right, so you're building a deck now. You've looked through your resources, you kind of have it all together. How do you decide your win cons? Like, is that something you think right from the start, or once you have it together? Okay, now how can I form a win con?
Um, Depends on the deck. So right now I'm brewing a Voltron commander. So like that I know hit people with Voltron commander and kill them. Conversely, when I'm building something like Tomic and it's just like planeswalkers, it was just what planeswalkers do I think can grind out the game long enough to get me a win later on, was like the game plan. So honestly, the answer comes down to it depends. I don't always go into it thinking of a win con. However, I will say though that when I am building a less focused on winning like Atomic, I'll still throw in, let's just say, an exsanguinate in there just as
Yeah,
a hey, if I draw this, I could try to end the game, or an insurrection in like a red deck where it's like this isn't relevant to anything, but I need a card that I can play late that'll just take the game for me. So I will put those types of things in if I'm not like specifically focused on any like specific type of win con.
yeah. Okay, yeah. For the first few years of building decks, I never thought about a win con. And you would ask me all the time. He's like, "So what's the win con for this deck?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We play until it ends. I don't know." Um, and recently, it is one of the first things I think about when I'm building my deck, even for the weirdest of stuff. Is actually especially for the weirdest of stuff because I need to ask myself
Like,
while
what's it
you're
gonna
being
do?
weird. Yeah, what are you going to do to impress? How are you going to try to move the game forwards? How is it going to end? And this and that. And um, it's something that is still embarrassingly as playing Magic as long as I have, still like the win cons are something that I'm trying to think about first and I want to do. But when I'm building my deck, it just kind of falls. I will throw a win con card out the window to put in some pet card any day. And I hate that I'm like that, but
And
you
then
know,
and then 15 losses later.
ex- no, we found the answer. Me.
Oh no. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem, it's me.
Jesus, no. I hate facing reality, but yeah, no, but that goes back to what I'm saying is I'd rather do something, I'd rather riz on you motherfuckers than win the game. So that is interesting. Uh, the last thing that I do kind of want to mention before we finish up how we're building this stuff. I have one more question, but I realized you as a builder and me as a builder, we handle variance very differently. I like to treat variance in this game as a friend. Like I embrace the fact that this is all random, that anything can happen, that all this is going, and you typically like to mitigate or limit the variance.
For
You
sure.
like redundancy. You like to make sure that it's gonna, not that it's gonna happen as you expected it to, but that there's just there's the resilience there. It's like if it didn't work in this path, you have a few other paths in your back pocket in the deck to go. And I embrace the variance. That affects how we build so much, but really that's more about our play style. Um, I just it was an interesting note that I realized is that you really do. You're a mitigator of the variance. You take this part of the game and you try to use the game to make a game of getting rid of it.
Yep.
Where I give it a big hug, I put some lipstick on it, give it a kiss, and we go to dates, So
No, I don't want to see it anymore.
that's fair. I again, just it's so funny how different a Magic players we are. Um so yeah, so when you're done building a deck, do you goldfish it? Do you play
Yeah, no,
it
for sure.
through
I,
and
I
everything?
shuffle it up a bunch and then I'll go through I'll simulate like 10 turns, like what my top 10 cards be and like that and that I've actually caught like, oh, I don't really like this card in my hand and if I find that I consistently don't want to see it, like, then I know what to cut or
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah, I have to goldfish. I'm assuming you do as well.
Yes, it's one of my favorite parts. And I got the family running around all the time and they see me just playing Magic by myself and they must cringe so hard, just in a corner, just playing Magic to nobody. It's
No, you
bad
got
enough
you got to
playing Magic sometimes and then you
you
just
got to
by
see
yourself.
how it works, bro. You got to
Yeah,
see what's going on.
yeah. Well,
Also, if
that's
it's
like how
shuffled
it
enough.
yeah, yeah, keep it shuffling, that way you don't have
Yeah.
that first bad game. But that's how I said where Liam was in trouble, and I made him play with me just so I could test out Krark. You gotta test it out. You gotta goldfish that stuff.
Actually, I have one point I wanted to add that's kind of in similar to the building for Commander. Um, I read a very interesting article that came out in, I think it's 2023. I'm gonna check real quick. Yeah, it came out in June of 2023, and it's by I'm not sure if he's a pro. He's somebody. I'm assuming he's a pro. It's Frank Karsten. And he wrote what's the optimal mana curve and land slash ram count for Commander. Did a bunch of simulations. There's a lot of great but dense, statistics and probabilities type information in the article. But the reason why it caught my eye so much is actually our buddy Troy, he had started to cut rocks and things from his decks to fit in other cards. Which honestly, seeing his decks all ran very well, but I just found that interesting because basically the gist of this article is that roughly 50% of your deck should be mana sources of some way. So for
50%?
for for optimal curves, make sure you always
Okay.
hit all of your drops every turn to give you the least chance of getting screwed or flooded. It should be roughly 50%. That's not just lands. That also includes ramp cards. Um,
Right.
to count as part of the thing. But yeah, close to 50% should be. Now, obviously, that number skews a little bit depending on how much your commander costs to cast.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And what colors you're running too.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, I was kind of shocked by how many lands you should really be running because I see a lot of people saying like, oh, nowadays the format's faster, we're cutting them down to 36, 35, 34. But this guy says like, no, if you want optimal plays, always it should be everyone should be probably running more land and or ramped altogether.
How many lands do you run?
I
For staple.
run I run usually 37. That's my starting point. If
Yes.
I'm in a high CMC kind of deck, I'll bump it up to 38. And I this is including for me. I include the modal flip cards as lands because I
Yes.
always
Yes.
plan to play them as lands. And then the
Yes.
idea is that if I don't need a land, I'll play it to spell. But I
Yeah.
only put them in there to play as lands. So like 38, 37, and then I've cut it down to 35 for like my Raga Draga deck, for instance, where it's all, one or two drop dorks. So I don't need as many lands in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I also run 37 for staple. I will not go up to 38, but I will drop down to 36 if I have a more aggressive or a lower, like Quark I think has 36 only because, you know, his whole point is to kind of make extra mana and get extra value.
Yeah.
So I don't think I need it. He's a two drop commander, but I won't go up to 38. But a lot of the precons I think are like 39 or 40 lands.
Yeah, the one that what did I just get that I edited? What did I just get and edit? Oh,
Ooh,
Deep Clue C actually came with 37 exactly.
37. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Um, I guess the last part is the budget. When I was building in 2016 to 2018, I was using $300 as my budget for a typical deck that I was building. I figured $300 would be a fair number to get my deck together with the lands and this and that. Now in 2024, I realize I like to keep a budget of $100 and no more than 100 for what I'm purchasing. And really at the end of the day, the deck will probably be under 200. So over the years, I have budgeted myself and I've taken out staples and lands and everything to get a cheaper deck and kind of less powerful. I'm building sixes and sevens really for the most part. And when I really kind of sat down and analyze it, it's I don't know if it's weird, if it's good or bad that I'm budgeting less money for my decks now when cards, there's so many cards that you need and so many staples have gone up in prices. I mean, it definitely
A lot
limits
of
my
staples have
staples.
fallen though too.
Not the staple
Doubling
staples.
doubling season isn't as much as it used to be.
They're still $50, man. They're
They
50.
why didn't you pick it up when it was like 35?
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Uh
I'm good. I'm good. I'll wait till you. Well, is that's one sided? What's the one that I'm thinking that's double sided? Parallel Lives does it for
yeah,
everybody or something?
right now Modern Masters doubling season you can get I guess that's 40. It's still only like $40 right now.
Right. Uh, and I guess it's you can build a whole deck for almost that cost.
No, for sure.
So
You could build a deck
that
for half the cost.
yeah. So that's why. But I've realized over my time of building, I build cheaper decks than I used to. How what have you noticed about the budgets on yours?
My budgets have gone down but only because I own everything that's expensive.
Hmm.
So, in terms of what I'm expending to build decks, like expenditures for me are more so building more decks as opposed to like beefing any deck up in particular. But because over the years I've collected like, 4 or 5 like Smothering Tides and 4 or 5 Teferi's Protections, I just hold on to them. So they just get cycled from deck to deck to deck as I go through time. So prices of staples might be going up, which means like the value of my decks are going up, but I'm not buying these things anymore. I didn't buy a doubling season either. I happened to pull one from a set pack of wilds. I'm just gonna hold on to that now forever. And then
Yeah.
eventually the price will go back up and it'll be like, oh my God, you're playing like a $60, $70 card. And realistically, I got it from a pack and just held
Yeah.
on
For
to
like
it for a year.
$7 for the pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and held on to it for like a little while. So that's
Yeah.
honestly my thing for budgetary reasons for cards. I keep myself like I won't buy anything that's more than $20 for in an individual card, and I only spend up to that much if I find that it's like this would be like absolutely an all-star in this deck. Like it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be an all-star in this deck. And when this deck goes, it'll still be a value
yeah,
card,
in
not
some
that
other
it's
thing exactly, because then now it's added to my collection. I bought it once. I probably won't need multiple copies, and I just hang on to it.
yeah. So your cost budget has gone down,
Yes.
but the value is the same, if not more, because y- you you have them. You have the card. So it's like I'm not spending money on it, but it'll definitely be in here. So the value of your decks have not gone down, but the budgets and the cost of it has,
Yes,
which
exactly.
is smart. That's the best thing a Magic player could do. I'm quick to sell my cards when I break up a deck. I have no foresight to say I'll play this again, and and it bites me a little bit, but at the same time, I can't help myself. That's just how I do
Yeah.
it. I'm a very whimsical person. I'll sell whatever I got to go buy some new deck I want to do, and then when that deck is useless, I realize, oh my god, now I have 13 fucking homunculuses and cards that help the homunculi, so I get it. But no, that's good. All right. And then your goal, what's your final goal for a standard deck? Obviously, all decks are different. What's the number power level that you're looking for? Is it 6, 7, 8? What is your ideal? Oh, I built this deck. This is what I want it to be.
I guess the cliche 7, like
Yeah.
I like to play powerful things. I like to
Yeah.
play people that also play powerful things.
Yeah.
Um, I get some enjoyment out of like some of the more budget games. It's cool when you can make a budget thing kind of go off and do something cool, but yeah, I would say mostly just the hard sevens. I know sometimes they fall into eights. I know sometimes the perception of them is an eight because
Yeah.
of just some of the things that are being played, even though they might not be that way.
Because you've mitigated the variance.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back to my deck building. I think that
Yeah.
I have a pretty consistent decks because I kind of keep things tight in terms of like what's going in.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh, even though we both have realized we build totally different, we sit down at the same table for a decade now, playing these decks against each other, and they're compatible. They work. That's the beauty of this game. I embrace the variance, and sometimes I end up on turn 3 on a fucking Krark deck,
Yeah, like
get 20 mana worth of
60
shit
mana. The hell's going on?
because of the Riz. I still don't know, but so it's nice to see that even though I'm building in a totally different way, we sit down at the same table. Everything plays out beautifully. I know we've been mentioning my loss record recently, but we know the fact of it is my decks typically win pretty well. I mean, for a while there was literally a chant of kill Mike,
Yeah.
um, and it's nice, man. I mean, do you think that all of the precons coming in is going to continue to change and hinder the building of Commander? Do you think there will reach this point where it's like, ew, you're building your own Commander deck? Don't you know that 15 of them just came
No.
out this week and they're all amazing?
No, no one's ever gonna do that. I mean,
Nice.
maybe there are people out there that are like that. I don't think our play group is like that at all. Our play group,
No.
it's hard to get them to look at new things as they come out. Even
I got to
it's a
say,
little
if
slow
if
to
you're a
adapt
new
things.
if you're a new player, this is the best time in the world to get into Commander.
Oh yeah, you're eating good, dude.
You
Murders,
could
the
buy,
murders decks were great.
yeah, yeah,
The Ixalan decks were great. So
yeah. Doctor Who and
Doctor Who, Fallout looks like it's gonna be good.
oh, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, as a new player, the precons are great. I hope it doesn't change the building so much, but at the same time, that's just what progression is. We adapt, and we'll forget about old cards, and new cards come in, and it is what it is. Before we go to Fallout, fun or trash, baby. What do we got? What do we got? You got a card for me?
Actually, I do. It's relevant to Fallout. All
Perfect. Look at
right.
all this.
Okay. So the card is the Nipton Lottery. It's two, a black and a red for a sorcery. Choose a creature at random. You gain control of that creature until the end of the turn. Untap it. It gains haste till the end of the turn. Then destroy all other creatures. Fun or trash?
Absolutely fun. Absolutely fun. Um, Last episode, I was saying how my favorite kind of board wipes in Commander are conditional board wipes,
Yep.
where it's not just everything dies, but things will die, but damage will still happen. The game will progress. And the lottery is a great example of that, where, I mean, first of all, you're going to get something, you're going to be able to swing with it. Things are dying, and you're getting advantage. So it's not just a board wipe, but it is a fun board wipe
Yes.
that progresses the game.
And there's a chance you get to keep your creature. You never know if it's one of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, what's the 3 mana Rakdos removal? All for one, battle for
Last one
all,
standing.
last one standing. Great, but at the end of the day, even though one creature is still alive, nothing progressed. This is one more mana. Get
And you
something in
get a
there. So
swing out of there.
I love it, and I believe that's from the Caesars deck,
Yes.
which is chock full of really cool board wipes. So, all right, I'm gonna, respond to that with VATS. Did you see the VATS card, VATS?
Let's see if that's.
Because I'm gonna ask fun or trash on this. It's the same one, same kind of thing. All right, VATS is a 2 black instant with split second.
Yeah, I can't
Choose any number
respond.
of target creatures with equal toughness. Destroy the chosen creatures. It's
Trash.
got split second. Trash. What?
Trash.
What? All right. Tell me what you don't find appealing about this.
I if I'm gonna have a spot in my deck that's trying to remove. Okay, so there's two factors to this. It's either 4 mana and destroy like one thing, or 4 mana try to destroy a bunch of things. And I feel
Yes.
like there's more efficient ways to do so in for cheaper on both sides. You know what I mean? Like you could 4 mana and definitely destroy everything.
Yeah.
Okay, split seconds is interesting.
And instant speed. I
Sure,
mean,
but I the thing is that I know this is in there to help hose like tokens from other
tokens. Yeah,
decks.
for sure.
Realistically, is what it's going to be most value for, and in those edge cases, it's going to be fantastic. I just I don't usually put cards in my deck where they're only really good in edge cases. I would rather have an Anguished Unmaking and just remove something for sure, or Toxic Deluge and wipe everything for sure.
Yeah. I really like the fact of the instant and the split second. I like the idea of don't cast it until someone actually swings that shit at you, you know? And my favorite thing to say when someone's like, "All right, I'm going to swing it," is like, you shouldn't swing at me.
Yeah, don't do it.
You really
Don't
you
do it.
really shouldn't. I mean, you can, but I really recommend you don't swing at me. And this is like a really fun way to have that answer, and then, fucking call their bluff. And when they do swing at you, be like, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of this and this. And even if it only gets one thing away, I mean, it's instant speed, it's split second. I really like it. I like the
You get
Caesar
instant
deck.
speed for 2 mana. Doomblade it.
But what if it's a black creature?
True.
I mean,
I just
4 mana ain't the end of the world, and
I'm not big
it's
on destroy effects anymore. I don't feel like they're strong enough.
which is very fair. Yeah, because even sometimes you destroy stuff, it goes to the graveyard, and now it's like, all right, well now everybody has access to it. The
Yeah, it's coming
graveyard
back.
is like a communal, it's like a thrift store.
Yeah.
Everybody can just dig in there and get whatever they want. So there's a lot of, access anybody's graveyard now. So you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
it's either exile or if it's gonna destroy, I need it to hit like every permanent.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Nipton lottery, I like that. I'm excited for it. It's one of the few cards I actually highlighted. I had a hard time looking at all the new Fallout cards. It's very overwhelming for me. We'll hit more into it, next year, next week once I see what's going on. We'll hit it a little bit because I know we're at an hour already. But Nipton was honestly one of the ones I was most excited about,
Great.
just because as a Rakdos player, I want to take your creature and try to sacrifice it, but also at the same time, if everything's dying, let's do
Yeah,
it.
just
Let's
hit you with
bring it
it.
on. Yeah, it's great. So, all right, Fallout impressions. What is your first? We'll do the whole thing next week. How do you feel about it? I mean, I know you pre-ordered the whole set.
Yep.
You like it?
Fallout New Vegas is my favorite video game of all time. Um, WoW notwithstanding, but that's a side conversation. But Fallout New Vegas, I'm a massive Fallout fan. So loved it. So as soon as I heard it was coming out, I was instantly hyped for it. I have to say, from my initial view, flavor is fantastic. They're mentioning a bunch of things. One thing that I think they're knocking out of the park is reprinting cards with the same name, but just that happen to fit like the theme of it. Like Frank Sanity was based on a vault where like they all had to like talk through puppets and things, and the guy's like crouched in the corner with his
Ooh,
puppets. So like the
ooh.
flavor with that, or mechanized production being like the bottle cap production
Yes,
facility.
yes, I saw
Like
that
so
one.
so the flavors for those reprints are fucking awesome. Super cool. One thing I will say is that based on the first three decks, and I want to say the fourth one was spoiled today, but I didn't get too into it. I just got home from work. Um, the value isn't as high as some of the other ones were. Like for instance, like the Warhammer deck reprints I want to say were a little bit higher. Really, the value of this deck is going to come like financially is going to come down to how much people like the new cards because the
Yeah,
reprints aren't like super duper strong.
yeah.
And then also laugh out loud the fact that Tarmogoyf, I believe, is in one of the decks under a new name, and it's just like the fact that Tarmogoyf went from $100 card like 6 years ago to being reprinted in a Commander Precon is sad, funny, but also sad as somebody that played Abzan, and I'm sure my Jund brothers can agree. It's just like, what happened to our boy? Look what they did to our boy.
My boy.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
for someone that loves the series, the flavor is 100% on point. I'm extremely excited for these. Yeah, very very into it.
Cool, because as a non-Fallout player, I'm very impressed with this. I took, like I said, I took some time to look through as best as I could today. I mean, there's fucking 400 cards to go through, so
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
lot,
lot.
but um, very impressed with it all. The artwork is phenomenal. I
Yep.
enjoy all of these cards. The junk tokens,
Yeah, are cool. Super
I
cool
love it,
token. Super
dude.
cool token. Right up your alley.
Dude, I mean, because it exiles it, so it's almost like card draw. It doesn't cost any mana to tap and sacrifice it, right? Like you just sacrifice it and then you exile a card
I
to
want to
cast,
say
I
it's
believe.
two.
No, no. All right, let's see. Because there was one card here that I was looking at. All right, so Boomer Scrapper. Uh, Tap it, sacrifice this artifact, exile the top card of your library. It is a
Oh, and you just
free.
free. Yeah, damn.
So it's an artifact. If you need artifacts to, get sacrificed, if you need artifacts to leave the battlefield, if you need to target artifacts, I mean, a junk token is great and it's gonna give you an opportunity to cast that spell.
Yeah.
I love it. As I read this, my goal is to find out how to use junk tokens to the best of my ability. So
So,
that's what
question
I
for
got out of
you.
this.
Yeah,
Yes.
question for you. We'll definitely go in more depth next week,
Yeah.
but just surface level. Do you foresee yourself grabbing any I don't see you buying any of the precons. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. But do you see yourself buying Fallout cards to put into other decks and or inspiring you to build original ideas with some Fallout cards?
Yes, man. Yes. Honestly, I mean, there's a few, even like Kellogg Dangerous Mind was a card that I saw where it's like, I could see a 3 mana that swings to create a treasure token is alone good. I mean, it has other abilities. You can sacrifice 5 to gain control of a target for as long as you have Kellogg. I mean, these are all things I like to do. There's a lot in this that I want to do, and I might actually buy a precon.
Word.
Um, as long as I can financially get myself together. So ultimately, this is my first week back to work, but I intend on, I have steady work coming forwards. I intend on buying one of these. And my initial look through was I was so impressed with Caesar that that might be the one I go for. But at the same time, the one thing I want to ask you is the dice roll guy, Dr.
Yeah,
Head
Mr.
or
House.
Mr. House or
Yeah.
whatever. uh, this is my first time reading it, and what a cool. Let me read it for. It's Mardu, so red, white, black, legendary artifact creature, human 0/4. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. If you rolled 6 or higher, instead create that token and a treasure token. Then you can pay 4 mana and tap Mr. House to roll a 6-sided die plus an additional 6-sided die for each mana from treasures spent to activate this ability. This is real. This is
Yep.
cool. And red has the best dice roll
Yep,
cards.
absolutely.
Is this something I know you mentioned it? Is this something you would are gonna consider? I mean, you're
Oh,
getting
yeah,
these decks. You're gonna build
there's no
this?
doubt about it.
Please.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The problem will be for me is what stays together and what gets scrapped for parts.
Mm,
The Naya one is definitely going to get absorbed into my Earl Voltron deck. I've put pause on putting that together. I didn't get anything for it yet, but I'm waiting to see what I like out of that deck. That thing's probably going to get completely scrapped. From the Caesar deck, I really like it as it is. It might stay as is, but I will definitely pull House out of there, and I will likely build a Mr. House dice rolling deck.
yes, man. Yes. I'm excited to see what you do about it. Um, once I finally read this card, I realized why you were pretty hyped about what this
Yeah, it's
does.
so cool.
Yeah, and 4 mana to tap it to roll possibly 5 dice, right? Because it's roll a 6-sided plus an additional. Yeah, so you could technically roll 5 dice and get 5 dice roll triggers off of this thing. And again, I don't know too much about the white and black dice roll. I haven't looked into that at all, but I know red has some bangers, so that's
Well,
some
white
cool
and black
stuff.
honestly would probably just be support cards like removal, and
Hmm.
that's usually kind of like there's a lot of decks I build where one color is like the driving force and like one or two colors and the other tertiary color is like a support color.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna continue to look through these, and you get the decks on the 8th, right?
Yeah, they released on the 8th. MVP Sports is pretty good about delivery, so I should have them if not that day, then I'll have them the week afterwards.
Okay. And then as we do every end of the podcast here, when are we playing Commander? So I am unavailable this weekend for sure. Um, but can we do a midday like meet up at 6 somewhere?
6
Like what?
p.m. is not midday.
Well, it feels like midday. I don't know. After
What the
work,
fuck?
everyone meets up at the shop at 6 o'clock. We play 2 or 3 games and be on our way. Just something to get our chops fucking wet, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's pitch in the group chat. I mean, I'm down to go Wednesdays to the Game Store Commander night.
Okay, cool. Um, yes, it seems like Wednesday. Honestly, any day this week would work, but I don't know how weekends are going to work for me for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Um, so I would like to maybe just again meet you guys somewhere local and just do a few afternoon again nighttime, whatever it is, six
Yeah.
o'clock at wherever the fuck it is, Mark's house, your house, whatever it is, just
Let's
to
just
get a
get it
few
in. Let's
games
just
in,
get that nut in there, you know?
Yeah, I gotta get that win, dog.
Yeah,
And
get that
don't
W.
don't you fucking dare. Don't you dare concede just to get don't. Don't you dare. I'm saying it now. No concessions. Give me hell. I want to earn it. I want to earn it.
All right.
All right, man. Listen, we've reached the bottom of the glass.
It's the bottom of the
Um,
glass.
I will see you next week. We will finish our talks about what Fallout is. I will probably at that point decide what deck I am going to buy. And maybe we'll have a little commander talks here. But man, it was nice seeing you.
Always a pleasure.
Till next week.
So long.
Take it easy.